In terms of Woodstock, then, I mean, give us your first impressions when you were choppered in. I mean, what did you think when you saw that? I think Jorma McAlkin said it was it might have been Cosmo said it was a sea of humanity, is what the way he described it. I mean, what were your first impressions when you were choppered in?
It was a sea of humanity. I originally didn't want to go to Woodstock. I was very
Okay.
tired. Henry Vestine had just quitted the band. The band had suffered its first trauma. We hired Harvey Mandel at a gig in the Fillmore West because Henry quit and we didn't have a lead guitar player to play with. Luckily, Harvey Mandel came from that generation of Chicago musicians that, from Paul
Yes.
Butterfield, etc., Charlie Musselwhite. So Harvey didn't know our music perfectly, but he knew the style and he knew where to fit in and how to play. However, so we hired Harvey on the spot. We didn't have time to rehearsal. We flew to the Fillmore East. We played a couple of shows there, and then we had to play Woodstock. I was not into it. I didn't know what Woodstock was, and I didn't want to know. All I wanted to do was sleep and rest. But my manager finally managed to get the keys to my room because I would not open. you know, I didn't want to go. I got to be honest. I didn't know what it was. I was just tired. I didn't want to go. So so he opens the door and he goes, "Turn the radio on, turn the TV on." He says, "This is going to be the biggest gig you ever play." And I'm just barely awake. I said, "Oh, come on, man, don't bother me." So finally, he convinces me. I put my t-shirt on, my Levi's, grab my little bag with a couple of drumsticks, a towel, and a couple of joints. That was it. That was my trip to Woodstock.
Wow.
Then we ended up in this White Kills airport, waiting for a way to get there because driving there was impossible. And we saw a helicopter that said press on it. And these guys, some of your colleagues, right, some of your journalist colleagues, a couple of younger guys with their instruments, with their cameras. In those times, the cameras were a lot bigger too,
Yes,
and
of
their
course.
recorders. And they are running towards the helicopter. So we go and run after them. We are bigger, we are more, and we are angry, and we want to get to Woodstock. So we're not going to let the press take that helicopter. So anyway,
Love it.
Bob High jumps on the helicopter and grabs one of the kids and says, "Where are you going?" And the kid goes, "We're going to report the news." And he goes and pulls the guy out of the helicopter and says, "No, no, no, we're going to make the news." That's how we jump on that helicopter. We sort of hijack the helicopter from the press. And when I saw that sea of humanity, as you said, I was so amazed. I actually talked to myself and I go, "And you didn't want to play this gig? This is the biggest gig you're ever going to play, and you didn't want to do it?" So I actually felt very good about being on that helicopter. And then at the same time, my manager, Skip, grabs his camera. He had one of those Pentax cameras,
Yeah.
from the past. Everything is from the past. So and he pulls his hand out of the window of the helicopter and starts shooting all these pictures.
Wow.
So eventually, one of his shots became very famous and is the shot that is in the inside of the Ravi Shankar
Wow.
Woodstock album. So if you see that famous shot
Yeah,
of
of course.
the whole audience there, the whole 500,000 people or whatever, that was taken by Skip Taylor from our helicopter.